listening to the Shite Talk podcast show. Shut up and sit down.
Welcome once again to the Shite Talk podcast show. Mark and Ken.
What's the story?
On episode 2010.
Yeah.
Nearly made a bit balls of that, but I think some careful editing will smoothen out that intro.
We're always careful with editing. You are. I don't do any fucking editing.
Well, in terms of intros, I generally just leave them. If we make a mess of it, we make a mess of it. So.
Yeah, the intro is always
It's a rough start to the podcast normally.
Rough and ready.
It's been an odd week.
It has been an odd week. It's been an odd week in the world.
We've had the second coming of Jesus Christ. Ken doesn't even know about this story, but we're going to be talking about the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I thought he already came back.
Yeah, but this time it's different, okay? This time it's different.
And this time it's real.
And I'll explain why it's different, and it's amazing. I honestly think you're going to love that story, like, of the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Is it going to be as good as we're living in a simulation?
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. It's probably better than the fact that we're living in a simulation.
Oh, right. Now you've got me interested.
Yeah, now we've hyped up the story probably a little bit too much. We've also there's also Conor McGregor stuff got floating around. There's him and his team on two separate incidents made absolute fools of themselves.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, and then we'll also be talking about code words people have in their job, and I think everybody has like they've certain things because it just makes it easier sometimes to have a code for something, have a secret word, or have either a look or a hand signal that means, here, check that out, or I need this. And we'll be talking about secret codes that people have in work.
Yeah, it's like when you were in school and you just kind of like, teacher says something and you just look at your friend and then you're in trouble because you laughed.
Yeah. And then we're also talking about things that people are embarrassed about that shouldn't really be embarrassing as well.
Yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, perfectly normal things people do that people find embarrassing.
Yeah, which is weird, and we all have these. There is a good few of them on the list, but we all have like there's probably individual ones as well. There's probably stuff that like you find like that's not even really embarrassing, but you're terribly embarrassed about it. So we're talking about that as well. Oh yeah, and then we'll be also talking about a boy who tried to measure his penis and is now on Idiot's Week.
Where else would he be?
Well, very common exercise for a lot of lads do, in fairness to him.
Really?
Yeah, like I've never done it. But I don't know. Have you ever tried to measure downstairs?
No.
Do you know, we probably are in the minority. I imagine, and especially for female listeners out here, if next time you're in a room with 5 lads, I guarantee at least 3 of them have tried measure their penis. Just have that as a mental note next time you're around 5 lads or a group of lads. The majority of them have tried to measure their penis and just look at them and try to pick out which one is. And it's possibly...
How do you know this?
Talking to other lads. Lads generally talk about their penis with other lads. Surely you know this.
That should be on the list of embarrassing things.
What? Talking about measuring your penis?
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you do it in a workplace setting, definitely you should be embarrassed about openly talking about it. But
if that's something that you're doing, I
think it's not something you're not checking it on a weekly basis, seeing if maybe some person.
Yeah, but like even if you do it once, like there's obviously some sort of insecurity there.
Curiosity more than that else.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're obviously worried about something.
I personally haven't done it. Ken says he hasn't done it. So maybe we're accepting. We're both left-handed as well. So like we are generally...
something that left-handed people don't do. You fucking righties.
You sick righties. No, this is something that like we're just obviously against the curve of most things.
Goddamn righties.
Yeah, goddamn sick righties touching yourselves. Measuring yourself. You should be appalled and ashamed at yourselves.
Yeah. God's watching.
God is watching. And he already knows. So we'll be talking about that later on in the show as well. So we might as well get into it.
Sure, may as well.
And I think we'll start with the embarrassing stuff that people find embarrassing about everyday life.
Yes, there's like this. I seen a list. It was on. I seen a list on Facebook, but it was a link to Instagram because that makes fucking sense.
Yeah.
So it was like just a list of things that are embarrassing for absolutely no reason, and stuff like I don't really think this one's embarrassing, but like walking towards someone that you're meeting up with.
You know when there's a distance between you and the people you're meeting up with, especially like I find it more like if it's a group of people, I do find that where, let's say you're a good 500 meters away and they're all standing still and you're walking towards them. There's that like, it takes like it seems like forever to get to them, and then they're just staring at you, waiting to get there. So then you start coming so insecure about, oh, it's my hair, and there's then all it takes is one person to kind of giggle. You're like, why are they laughing?
Generally, it'd be because you've probably fallen over yourself 3 times in the walk in the 500 meters.
Yeah, okay, that might be it. Yeah, but there's that like kind of distance, or if you're meeting up with someone for the first time, and
If first time, okay, but I don't know if it's embarrassing. It's kind of awkward.
yeah, I think they're probably mistaken embarrassing for awkward. A lot of these lists, I don't know if it's embarrassing. It's just awkward. You feel social pressure, or else it's kind of like, if you're going for not like a job interview, you're meeting a manager for or something like that, and you have to call into the office, and you stand up and you go to shake their. It's just kind of generally like a almost awkward conversation, awkward kind of tension there for a little bit, and then you go in.
Then you punch each other in the face.
Yeah, generally that's how we should solve it. Just punch each other in the face. Go, hey, you punch like a bitch, and then you just laugh.
Another one. I do understand this one. Another one is like getting up and exiting from the middle of a row.
Yeah. Oh, if you need to pee in a cinema.
Yeah, or something like that. Like I'm always kind of like, okay, which side is there less people?
Yeah, it is kind of. Yeah, it is kind of. And I think generally people will try to go to the toilet before, it's just so they don't have to go through that of like that awkward thing where people are trying to watch a movie. And you have to like exit it. I also find when you go into the cinema, if like you have to shuffle past, because you have to pick, do you go bum face or do you go crotch face? And it's kind of hard to know which one's the more polite way to do it. Is it like, do you go cross in their face, or do you go back so you don't have to make eye contact?
Never make eye contact.
There's nothing worse if there's someone has your crotch in their face and you're just constantly making eye contact and you go, yeah, this is how it is. And then you move on to the next person and you do the exact same thing. So like, yeah, come through here. Yeah.
we'll just keep going. We'll just go on to the next one.
Yeah.
The next one is it's kind of understandable as well. It's somebody holding the door open for you when you're just slightly too far away.
It's awkward for you, but it's also awkward for the person who's holding the door.
Yeah.
And like you can do two things. You can run up to them, which is probably the nicer of the two things to do, because like at least they're not waiting there the whole time. But feminism has made this even worse, by the way.
No comment.
Because like generally I hold the door open for if it's a man, woman, child, whoever. I don't care. I'm not doing it because I don't think they can open the door. They need help opening the door. Whatever feminists out there say we're trying to remind them of holding the door. You're doing it because it's a nice thing to do for human beings. But generally, if you hold out a door open and you see like there's a woman coming for it, now generally you're in that awkward situation. Well, then are you doing it just so they can check me out? Are you doing it just because I'm a woman and they find me attractive? Or are you doing it just because I'm a woman? You don't, and you're holding the door open, saying this is what that person's thinking come true. You're like, oh, just let it go, it goes straight in their face. Have you ever done that where you're like, oh, I hold the door holder, oh, that's too long, and you walk off? Because that is embarrassing. That turns that situation from awkward to embarrassing.
So what, you like hold the door, count to 10, and just let go?
Yeah, and like it generally closes just as they're at it as well. So I don't know which one's the more lesser embarrassing. It's holding it there and like, all right, I've obviously committed to this. I'm going to stay here until the person's through the door.
Or I'm going to slam the door in their face.
But then, do you know what? I don't like when someone holds the door like for too long for me, like as well, because then there is that. It just makes it awkward.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it's always kind of awkward.
Yeah, like generally,
unless the person is like literally directly behind you. I won't hold the door unless you are like right behind me.
I'll kind of look over my shoulder as I'm letting go of it, and if there is a person, I might put my foot on the door so they can catch it, or something like that. Or if my hand goes to the door first before a person comes in, I'll let them in. And if like there's that, you know, when you both are coming into a shop, or you can see. And there's that who holds the door thing. There's like
yeah,
yeah. That is also doors. Like we should just have, you know, those doors that go up or down, like you see in games. We should just have them slidey doors.
It should be just automatic doors everywhere.
Yeah, in every walk of life, we should have automatic doors. So we take this.
You can just blame COVID for it. Just say, "Oh, we don't want people touching door handles."
Yeah. I don't think people miss holding a door open for a person either.
Yeah. So another one that's on the list is, and this is kind of true as well. So putting your change back in your wallet when there's a queue behind you in a shop.
Oh yeah, we were talking about this off air, and I have this like loyalty card that like in the shop that I go to, that you get like a free coffee after your 8th coffee, which seems like 8. I have to buy 8 so I get 1 free. It seems a lot. It used to be 6. I'm just saying. Now it's 8. And yeah, like that, because first of all you have to pay for the coffee, and then you have to ask for it to get stamped. I also find it awkward when you have a free coffee, and that thing where you go, oh, Americano, and then you have to whip out the card and go, oh, this is free, and they've already put it into the machine, so they have to go undo the thing in the machine. That's also awkward.
I don't really drink coffee, so
yeah, sometimes I buy something just so they can put something through. I feel like, which defeats the purpose of getting a free coffee.
Yeah, I never have that awkwardness because I just don't buy coffee.
Don't buy coffee. Yeah. Then you know, when you're in work and you can only get a name if you don't buy lunch or don't buy anything in the shop. If you go and go, oh, he's a bit tight now. He doesn't even buy. He brings he brings his own coffee to work. You kind of go, oh, he's a bit tight now. If you wouldn't spend his community money.
Oh, yeah. I hate when people say that. Wouldn't spend his communion money. Like, who the fuck still has their communion money?
Yeah, exactly. It's gone into a savings account for retirement.
Yeah. Like, how much money did you get for your fucking communion?
Yeah.
Or one that I never understood was he wouldn't spend Christmas. What does that mean?
Probably wouldn't get anything for anyone for Christmas.
Like, he wouldn't spend Christmas.
Yeah, but there is that you can develop a name in work if you don't buy anything for lunch. Like they kind of, and like a lot of times it's understandable. Like, I used to buy a jar of coffee, and if the place I was in had free hot water, sometimes they have a Bunsen boiler. I'd just go in and I'd get a coffee. I just used my coffee that I had in van, and I'd use their milk, and I'd go on about my day. But like, because it will add up, like it's roughly $2.50 to €3 for a coffee, depending on different places, and like, or $2.80 to €3 for a coffee. And so like that, if you're buying 2 coffees a day over the course of a week, and then you add that to a month, and then add that to a year, like and you look into, yeah, it adds up.
Trying to find a spare seat somewhere.
Oh, on a bus or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely awkward things like where you have to ask someone to move in. You know, when someone has their bag on the seat. That is a cunt thing to do, by the way, putting your bag on the seat, especially as the buses or wherever it is filling up.
Do you know what I really hate? I really hate when random people sit beside you when there's like loads of space on the bus.
Oh my god, that is awkward. Yeah, because then you have to have a conversation, or when they try to have a conversation with you, and you're clearly like listening to music.
Yeah.
Because like I kind of like journeys where you get a chance to either listen to a podcast or you get to listen to like an album, and like you don't really get a full like half an hour to an hour. Like if you're sitting at home, there's too many things distracting you. So sometimes if I'm driving by myself, like I'll stick on either a podcast or stick on an album I want to listen to fully and just play the album through, just so I can listen to it and you get to appreciate it when you're driving. I imagine people on buses do the same thing, where if your commute is their kind of time to just like always just enjoy the music or enjoy whatever, and it's kind of, and then someone's trying to make conversation with you. Right.
It's really, really irritating. I have a friend who will actually, like, if somebody sits beside him on the bus and there's like loads of other seats, he'll move.
He'll move.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the proper way to do it. Yeah. But I really hate when people try to talk to you on the bus when they see you're trying to listen to music. Like I remember I was on a train and every time your man tried to talk to me, I personally took up my phone and paused it, took out my headphones. So he sees like I am listening to. I'd answer him back. I'd put back in my headphone and I'd press play in terms of, I'm not trying to be rude here. I am listening to what you're saying, but I am actually currently trying to also enjoy music or enjoy the podcasting I was at the time. But yeah, I hate that. So it's like, if I'm sitting there and I don't have music, have a conversation with me. I'm not doing anything else. But if I have headphones in, like, leave me alone.
Yeah, like it's. I don't like people talking to me at the best times.
Anyway, is there any other thing on the list?
What else on the list? Having happy birthday sung to you.
Oh yeah. That is really awkward. I think it's made to just make you embarrassed, though.
Opening presents in front of people.
Yeah.
Blowing your nose.
Yeah, do you know what? I actually had a good story. I was going to talk about embarrassing presents. Or given presents, or if you've got embarrassing presents given to you. So it's a good way to shoehorn it in.
What embarrassing presents have you got?
Well, it's more my mum. It was one of my cousin's communions, and there was a packet of celebrations knocking around the house, and I had started eating these celebrations. So I was like, oh, well, they're here. I'm gonna start having them. And my mum had gotten a different packet of celebrations. So the other day I was in the house and I was like, looking around the presses. I was like, where's the fucking celebrations? My mum was like, blood drains in her face. You haven't opened those celebrations. I was like, no, the unopened packet's here. I've been like, I'm halfway through a fucking packet of celebrations at this stage. I was like, there's one was open for last week or so. I've been fucking eating them. She's like, for fuck's sake. She's like, she had given a half-eaten packet of celebrations for a communion present.
And did she go and explain what happened?
I was like, better text Laura. I was like, the mom was Laura. I was like, better text Laura and tell her what happened. I was like, well, at least I didn't put the wrappers back in, because there's nothing worse when you open a packet of celebration, especially if there's a present and there's the wrapper still in the box.
Yeah.
So at least there wasn't. I was like, at least I have the etiquette to take out the wrap and not put back in the wrappers.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, so there's a full packet of but I think the my auntie hadn't given it to the family yet, so I think it might be a thing, but
it might have been okay.
Yeah, there is, around Chris Kindle's where your you're giving a person a Chris Kindle present and you don't know what to get them.
Yeah.
And you don't really talk to them, especially if it's like in work or something like that. You don't, it's kind of like, oh, what the fuck do I get them? Like, we've had 4 conversations and you're like, and like you've got something for some random, you got something off some random person you don't actually know either, and you're like, and you feel like as soon as your eyes touch the present, you have to have a reaction to it. Like, it has to be a positive reaction. So you have this like really fake, oh my god, it's amazing reaction. And you haven't even got a chance to process what it is, and you're kind of then looking
you're
at
kind of like, I fucking hate this person.
Yeah, exactly. Or you're kind of like, okay, I actually don't know what this is. It's a can of oh yeah, cool, I see it.
Oh, it's a link set.
Yeah. Yeah, generally. I actually like body wash sets as presents.
No.
It saves me actually having to buy body wash. It's like, here's a practical present that I'll actually use.
No.
Because you think the idea of like just like, okay, I'll get them something so you can buy themselves something, so you get them like a gift card. But everybody hates gift cards. Gift cards are one of the worst presents ever.
And gift cards are one of the worst presents ever.
You know, but then like the alternative to that is buying something that you don't like. Well, somehow that's better than a gift card.
Yeah, that is better than a gift card.
At least you try. Yeah, so like I think the Shite Talk advice for a present giving is just buy them a body wash set. Then is it?
Yeah, basically.
This body wash set, honestly, it's better than a gift card.
There's one entry on this list that I don't think it happens to people, and I don't really understand what the fuck it's about. Maybe this has happened to you.
All right.
So it's right. So remember, it's perfectly normal things that are embarrassing. Being hit by a car and being okay.
What? First of all, that's not perfectly normal. If you get hit by a car, it's like, how often are you being hit by a car?
Yeah, being hit by a car and being perfectly normal or perfectly okay.
Fake an injury, then. If you're embarrassed by that, fake an injury.
Like, what is that about?
Yeah. I don't know about getting hit by a car. Like, the only like thing, you know, it like in jiu-jitsu, if someone knees you in the face, and then it stops, and they're like, "Oh my god, are you okay?" And they're like, "Yeah, like I'm not gonna die."
Yeah.
We can continue going. Like, I know you didn't do it on purpose. But yeah, like in terms of, I've never. I don't think I've been hit by a car. If I have, the other day I actually got hit by a truck, but like it was grand. I was
So there you go. Did you feel embarrassment?
No, I just felt, Jesus Christ, that was close. It was kind of just it nudged off my shoulder. It wasn't like a proper hit. It was just like, oh, okay, Jesus.
There's a truck there.
Well, no, he was reversing. I was like, I'm nowhere near you're going well past that parking spot. Like, I seen it reverse in and realized I wasn't going into the parking spot that I was there. I was going to stop. But sometimes the trucks go, I don't know why they do it, but they reverse well past the parking spot and then they drive it forward to get a level with the other trailer. I don't know like why they do that. Why they don't just like drive it and like measure it as they're going backwards. But yeah, he was doing that and obviously wasn't paying attention to that there was a person behind him. But he was going slow enough that like if he hit me, like it would have like it didn't hurt.
I actually had to do this thing in work, right? It just the truck parking thing reminded me. So they're looking for like .com drivers, like delivery drivers to deliver online shopping and shit.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to do it. Like nobody's interested in it because fuck that shit.
It's shit hours. It's like 50. Like it can be like a fucking shit long day.
Yeah, like just nobody wants to do it. So they bought this like simulator thing from Sweden to try and like show people what it's like to drive the fucking thing and all this crap. So again, still nobody was interested. So the problem they had was now they've got this fucking thing and they can't justify having it.
Yeah. But like,
so they were like trying to get people to go over to just drive the fucking thing and waste time. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go to Minute and waste an hour. So I went over to Minute to drive the thing, and that's the way that he tells you to park it.
Well, go past
When you're trying to park, you go like you go arseways, then you line up your lines with the spot, then you go back too far, then you line up with the truck beside you.
Yeah, it's I never understood that. So obviously that's how you park stuff. But yeah, then as a person who like often sees trucks parking stuff in, it's like, okay, he's not gonna. I'm in the different, completely different section to that, so I'm safe. And then, oh, I didn't feel embarrassed about it. I was kind of like, holy shit. He didn't even apologize either. He didn't be like, oh, sorry about that. He kind of just looked at me, and then we kind of made eye contact. Like, don't know what you did.
What about walking across a pedestrian crossing? You ever feel awkward about that?
No, like I take control of that situation. Look at cars go. You can't knock me over.
What about saying goodbye to somebody and then realizing you're walking in the same direction?
Oh my god. I remember there's a guy that lives in my estate, and we know each other since we were kids. And we went to the same secondary school together. You used to get the bus together from. Used to get the bus home. We were both coming from town, and he obviously suffers with this worse than I did, because there's two kind of places you can get off the bus where I live. You get off one near like a cinema, or you get off one then near a housing estate beside where I live. So you can kind of like, you can pick either one. They're roughly around the same distance. I think the housing estate might be a little bit closer, but then by the time you get off the bus at the cinema, you're kind of walking up, so it's kind of much of a muchness. So I got off the cinema, he got off the housing estate, and we were walking up, and we got to the point where both of us, I was across the road, we were at the T junction, I was across the road, he was across the road, both looked at each other, didn't bother saying that to each other, and just had that awkward kind of walk. Like I was like a few steps, I slowed down my pace then, so that I let him get away further from me, because we didn't obviously want to talk to each other. So it's like, yeah. So, but I guess which way, I always say if we're in if you're, you know, you were your friends, you're going to cinema, and which way, where you parked. And yeah, and that's the way they cut that out. Is there any other?
Just see what else is it that's anything good. Asking the price of something and then not buying it.
Yeah, that is a little bit embarrassing. I wouldn't be too badly embarrassed. I wouldn't personally go up to something to a checkout and ask the price of something, though.
Oh, people do it all the time.
All right. Yeah, this seems like a lot of hassle. If I brought something to the till, I've already emotionally invested into it to bring it this far. Can you not get like an app on your phone to like scan stuff, or a QR code reader that will give you the price of stuff?
Customers can't.
Can they not?
No.
All right. They should bring out something like that, so if someone doesn't know the price of something, they can just scan it and go, all right, this is £6.
No, customers can't do that.
All right.
Because it accesses too much fucking shite.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. And that's about all that's anyway decent on it.
All right, so we actually have a kind of a show of, I don't know, of awkward situations, but of maybe. All right, well, the next part is about code words we have in work. It's probably to avoid awkward conversations. And have you ever been like at a restaurant and you're kind of like, I wonder, you often see like maybe two waitresses talking to each other, and you're kind of like, I wonder if they're probably talking with the guests. I wonder what they're saying with the guests, but they have to use, if they are talking with the guests, they have to use certain words because they're probably in earshot of our guest who could possibly overhear them bad mouthing a different guest. So you probably use code.
More than likely.
And I guess, like, if you don't feel awkward about this might make you feel awkward about next time you're getting on a plane. Because this story comes from not a restaurant, but airliner. And they were on a podcast and they were talking about code words that they have when they want to talk about other guests. Now, they're only really talking about whether codes they use to talk about if someone's hot or not. So this isn't about like bad behavior or anything like that. So they were saying, when you're bored in a plane, there's usually air hostesses waiting to greet you, and they scan your boarding pass, and sometimes they're having a conversation. So what they say is they fake having a conversation about having dinner. So they're talking about maybe if they're going to have an Italian tonight, an Italian could be code for something. But this one's saying like if they find a person not attractive, that the code would be air hostess would ask, "Are you eating out tonight?" And the other one would say, "No, I'm not really hungry." And if they found them very attractive, that they would actually, they'd actually say, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely eating out tonight," meaning that person is a ride. Do you have this kind of? Was there ever code around work around this kind of thing?
Yeah, like we used to do this thing where you'd ask somebody what time they were going on their break at.
Yeah.
And then they'd answer like whatever. And then you'd say, "Oh, I'm going to go on mine at 9." And like if it generally worked better if you weren't going to be there at that time. But the person would be like, "Oh, okay," and then go into aisle 9.
Yeah, so they go down and they'll check out. We used to only do this thing where if we instead of saying, "Oh, look at the person," we go whished, and whished would be like kind of like a kind of code for, "Oh, look up, there's a attractive person walking up the yard there." But like we would, like I always thought it was very obvious because someone says whished, and next all you look in your scanning the yard for a person to come to you. Like it's kind of obvious like what it means or whatever. Oh,
I know of a really, really obvious one. That's not too bad, like, but there's like one of the bread men that comes into work.
Yeah,
he'll just go, "Very nice, isn't it?" And you're like, "That's
yeah, that is very obvious." And he uses a very close proximity to the person that they're talking about, and you're like, "Well, I can't actually stare at them now because like they know, like you've just pointed out that we're talking about them. If I stare at it, it confirms it." So you're kind of going, wait till she pulls off and going, "Yeah, very nice." But like, I think it was kind of we were talking about this a little bit off air, and we're saying I don't really do it too much now. I don't know if it's the older.
Yeah, I think it's more of a thing you do when you're in your like early 20s, late teens, 20s.
Well, yeah, we do a lot when we're in the van, and it was kind of a way of like there's no worse if you're driving a van and the person your passenger beside you is just like on their phone constantly. They're not making conversation, and there's like you're just driving. So like it's a way to keep them alert. You go, like, look at your one out the window, or you look out for like attractive people in cars, or you like even you go, "Oh, there's a car in front of you," and you say, person in front of us there is, I'd say she's a dog, or I say it's a lad driving it."
Jesus.
And like you try to guess if the person's either male or female or attractive or not attractive by the car that they're driving. Like if you can make out that they're a woman, I go, generally a woman driving a BMW, she's going to be attractive. And then you drive up and go, "Oh no, she's old." And you try to justify it by the minis are less like, if you see a girl drive minis, you're like, "Oh, it's a good chance that they're attractive looking."
My friend always had this. He always had this theory that attractive girls only drive small cars.
No, like I have a theory that attractive girls drive BMWs or minis, and I imagine being a fucking working in a BMW dealership, you must be like every day confronted with all these very attractive women just coming in buying their Mini Coopers and their M3s. They're like. But yeah, like you would actually get fairly good at like spotting if a person was a lad driver or a male or a girl driver, based off the cars.
Would you?
Yeah.
Can you really guess if somebody's male or female by what car they drive?
Yeah, there's a certain of the unisex cars, Volkswagen, but like a Volkswagen Passat. Especially a black Volkswagen Passat, or those like off silver Volkswagen Passats.
Yeah.
Male drivers. Almost guaranteed. Audi A6, male driver. That'd be definitely like, and then you'd have like older A4s, generally men as well, because you can't afford A6. Yeah. Audi A1, girl driver. Mini.
You're just basically going with like smaller cars, girl driver.
Not really. There's like I said, like an M3. Like you will get men driving M3s as well, and you get it's kind of a unisex car. Like I'm not saying like obviously there's men who drive Mini Coopers, and like you know you come up to a Mini Cooper, you're looking to see if they're attractive or not, and you're it's a lad. And like I drive a Fiesta, so I drive a small car. And people always said that was a hairdresser's car.
Yeah.
There was a Hyundai years ago that used to be considered a hairdresser's car.
The coupe.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, coupe used to be considered a hairdresser's car.
Or an Audi TT.
Yeah, well, I used to know lads to drive TTs.
Yeah, it's a hairdresser's car.
Yeah, so like, yeah, I like obviously there's times you'll get it wrong. That there's not all girls drive minis, not all boys drive.
There's a time when your sexist car driving thing doesn't work.
but like in terms of like if you're just bored on the road and you're trying to pass time, guessing if it's a male or female driver, it's kind of like a fun little game to do to pass the time, and if they're attractive or not. But like it's not only about attractive. If people find someone attractive in work, it can also be other codes for if customers are really, really annoying. Like I remember, like I said about, sometimes I'll go into a shop and I'll like only go. I generally believe that I'm only going in there for soup and end up with half a dozen things. And I kind of feel like the people who work in that shop have given me a name. I have a nickname. They talk about that person or the type of person that walks around with a million things in their hands instead of getting a basket. And you've basically confirmed that and said, yeah, see, you probably do have a name.
Yeah, more than likely.
Because like I will generally be like, go in for soup and then go, do you know what goes with soup? Bread rolls. And then we're like, I might as well get a cooked chicken. I might make a sandwich. And then by the end of it, I have half a dozen things carried into the till. And they're like, do you want a bag? I'm like, sometimes they ask me, do I want a bag? And I was like, I carried it around the shop. I'll carry it out of the shop and go, no, you're grand. But sometimes now, one or two times they haven't even asked me for a bag and they've just taken it out and start putting stuff in the bag.
Usually, if you're in work, if you're going around and you see somebody with a whole lot of shit and they're kind of like struggling carrying their crap and you're just kind of like, oh, this fucking moron's going to drop something.
Yeah, because you're going to have to clean it up.
Yeah, you just go and you get a basket and you're like, there, use the basket.
Yeah, but like, I kind of feel like, I don't know why this has happened, but it seems like small baskets are coming a thing of the past. And then there are all these ones where you can roll it around. So they give like a...
They done a customer survey thing on that.
Oh, and people said they preferred the wheel basket.
People said that the old kind of wire steel baskets.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah, people said they were too small and inconvenient. Coincidentally, people also said that trolleys were too big, which is why trolleys are now smaller.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Trolleys were too big and baskets were too small.
I want in between. Yeah, but now you don't have I kind of I do feel like the smaller baskets were a little bit too small, but I just want a bigger basket that's not wheelie, that's easier to carry. Like it's such a pain to hold those wheel bar, because like I don't want to wheel it because it hits into everything and you just fucking end up hitting people's feet and legs.
Well, you can also carry it.
Yeah, but they're awkward to carry as well.
Get a trolley.
Only you're coming in for soup here. At least like a little basket you can put the soup in, and if you end up just having soup, so be it. But yeah, but like I kind of felt like I definitely have I kind of feel like everyone has a nickname about them that they've never heard, but it's what people talk about behind your back. And in situations like that where there's a certain type of customer that obviously you'd have a code for the person in the aisle carrying a million things in the basket there. Like, run after him there and give him a basket because he's going to drop all that soup he has.
Like, there is codes that people do use for like customers and stuff, but I'm the absolute worst because I'm the guy that the customer has to complain about if they have a complaint.
Yeah.
So like, I'm the least code using person ever. Like, there's a new girl in work, and she was on tills the other day, and she had a cunt customer, and the customer was about 4 feet away after she finished serving her, and I was like, "That's your first cunt." And she's right there. I was like, "Yeah, she's going to turn around and complain to me anyway." So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
yeah, so you don't use code, you just be very blunt about it. Like, bartenders have ones for, like, if they're attractive people at the bar. Like, when I say bar in terms of, I mean the actual just the bar where pints are pulled, and I'll call it pub. The pub is a place, and the bar is in the pub.
Yeah, multiple bars. Pub.
Yeah. So, like, a 50 means, I think, the number 50 means throwing something at you, get ready to catch it. So if someone says, here, 50, and fuck something at you, you have to get ready to catch it. A 699 means if there's a hot person at the bar. A 700, it's the hottest person at the bar. And then ones that aren't related to if they find people attractive is 85 is something was nearly out of stock. 86 is something is completely out of stock. And 68 is something has to be refreshed. And there's other ones for, like, if they're going on a break. So if they're saying, like, if they need to take a shit, they'll use a code like, 68 or 66. So people know, I'm taking a shit, I'll be back in a few minutes. Or I'm taking a smoke break, would be like a 50 something. Like, and there we go, I'm going for a break, like, I'm going for a smoke break, be back in 5.
I feel like some of them are unnecessary.
Yeah, like, yeah, the ones that we use would be like, we use a hand signal because it's quite loud. So, like, one we make it like kill signal, where it means just like turn off the machine, you know, where you wave your fingers across your neck.
Yeah,
I mean, that means like turn off the machine, or like we use it like like we pull, like, as if we're pulling something down, and that means pull the hose. And then this is like we make it like a brush, if we need a brush, like bringing me over a brush. Make it like a brushing symbol. So that's all the stuff we use for that.
But it makes a bit more sense that way, because like I'm assuming you're not all crowded around each other when you're working. Like,
No,
so you probably have a bit of distance.
Yeah, exactly. And instead of shouting down it, or like there's a code for, like, if a truck's clean and you don't really need to brush it, we'd use like code for stuff like that. So if there's a manager lurking around, looking at like the trucks that he knows not to. He doesn't have to like brush like it all very thorough. We'd use a certain code for that.
Yeah, like
I'm gonna save what our code is in case like someone says it. But I kind of feel like our code also could mean that we're actually talking about something. Could be easily translated into, oh, they actually think someone's attractive. So like, so
are you going to take a shit in your truck?
Yeah, so we're actually quickly running out of time. So I'm going to move away from code and talking about our idiots of the week.
Yeah, who is our idiot?
Yeah, this is part of the show created for idiots, by idiots, and it's basically where we do dumb things. Talk about dumb things.
Like Dylan Danis.
Yeah, like Dylan Danis or Conor McGregor. But amazingly, it's not about this. It's about a thing that I've said earlier on the show that a lot of men do, which is try to measure their penis. Generally, this is a younger, like you do it as maybe a teenager. A lot of people have said they do it, so they're obviously just curious at that stage, and they take a ruler or whatever, maybe their phone. They use a measuring tape on their phone. I don't know. I've never done it.
Measure on your phone?
Yeah, do you ever just fuck around with the measuring tape on your phone?
There's a measuring tape on your phone?
Yeah. Do you have an iPhone? iPhones have it. It's like it kind of allows you to drop a little pin, and you just slide your camera around, and then you drop the pin there, and it'll give you the centimeters or meters of kind of a thing. It's not the best thing to use. I kind of feel like you can never drop the pin where you actually want it, or it can be like really finicky. Sometimes if you have at hand, if you have a measuring tape, it's better to use measuring tape.
Yeah, I can't imagine that it would work overly well.
Yeah, but it definitely worked a lot better than what this guy actually used. And he's 15 years old, and he was hospitalized after he used a USB cable, and he inserted it into his penis in an attempt to kind of measure the length of his penis. I don't know what necessarily the idea of this was. Boys from the UK. I remember reading this story, my stomach just turned every single time. This is you get a feeling in your stomach. It was just giving a sickening feeling. It was basically like that.
He stuck a USB cable up his dick.
Pretty much. Into his, I don't even know how he got that far into it, because it was completely in his urethra. It was completely inside him.
What? Why?
I don't understand how, and why he just didn't measure from the outside. Yeah, so he went to
he's trying to measure from the inside.
Yeah, so he went to the emergency department of his local hospital with a urinal problem. He had the thing in a knot as well. He had this knotted USB cable inserted in some distance into his penis. Numerous attempts to remove it himself led to him losing quite a lot of blood, for piss and blood, basically. And I imagine he's at a point where he's just he has to go to the hospital. And he knows there's something embarrassing, and he's obviously quite young, so he has to ask his mother to bring him to the hospital. And his mother's like, why do you need to go to the hospital? And he's like,
what did you do now, boy?
Yeah, this is where if a lad goes, oh, lad problems, it means, what have you done to your dick?
Yeah, what have you done now, boy?
What have you done? It's never, oh, it's an unnatural process. It's always you've inserted something somewhere, or if you've tried to put something somewhere, and now you have to go to the hospital.
What a fucking idiot!
Yeah, so the two ends of the USB port wire were found protruding from the external urethra meters, while the middle part, the part where it was knotted, where he put a knot into it, remained within the urethra. So it kind of just basically where it was not, it was in where his dick was, and then the other parts has actually went out past that part, past the urethra, and was this looks like it was in his stomach. There's a wire would look like it was going around its hip as well. I was wondering how he actually got it up there that far. It doesn't look like something you could easily shove into your dick.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it would be easy to get a fucking USB up your dick.
Without any painkillers or anything like that.
Yeah.
Once his mother was out of the room, he confessed to the doctors that he was trying, instead of measuring his penis from the outside, to use the USB cable to measure from the inside.
Why would you even admit that?
Yeah, but I guess what else were you it's it's already in your penis. They already have to take it out. You might as well be honest at this stage. It's the embarrassing of having it in up your penis is already, The team attempted to remove the cable via inserting a metal rod into his penis to draw out the cable. Basically, he had to get surgery on this. They had to cut him open. But basically, they couldn't take it out by shoving a metal rod up the penis and widen it in order to kind of pull it out. So then they had to basically cut him open from the tate, which is the middle part between your ball sack and your arsehole. So you had to come over to take it out from the Tate.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, isn't
Like, what a fucking tool bag.
it? Yeah, well, like we said, it's pretty common for men to try to measure it, especially when you're younger. But like, usually the outside. He's obviously looking for inches. That's the only like reasoning I could think of. Like, he measured from the outside and he's like, oh, it's not that big, but he feels like there's more in there or something like that. So you get a proper measurement if he shoves it inside.
Like, why do people be shoving stuff down their dicks?
I don't know.
Or up their dicks or whatever the fuck. I don't know. Is it up or is it down? I don't know. Like,
I think it's in or out, isn't it now?
we've had a few of these like incidents on the podcast.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not common, but it's not rare either.
Yeah, it's like it's just a thing apparently.
That some lads do. Most of the times the hospitals say like this is generally younger men that try this, but there's cases of where older men do it as well.
Like, why would an older man do it?
I don't know. I don't know why any man would do it.
Yeah, like,
Personally, just talking about this story like made me sick. Like it made me actually my stomach even just there because I've already read the story. You think I've been colonized to it? No, it still made my stomach turn to actually then and go and try it. Like,
yeah, like that's never going to be a good idea.
yeah. Anyway, they managed to get the cable out, and he has to be monitored now to make sure everything still works. Which seems like an odd job for a doctor to have to do. To be like, does he like have to make sure that the doctor just puts on porn and sees if it gets erect or not? And go, oh, not getting erect there. Gonna have to fix that, or does he just ask the kid? Any problems in functioning?
How old is he?
Teenager, I imagine.
Like, oh, like, and it was his ma that he went to. And
yeah, his mom. Imagine that, like that point where you realize, oh, I have to go to the hospital now, and she's
my
obviously
dad here. I'm gonna have to tell my ma whatever chance me down, understanding what's going on.
But would it be better off if it was your dad? Would you? I'd be just as I'd to be honest with you, I'd just get the bus and go myself. I'd be like, better off them not knowing than having to go through that and just bring myself to the hospital.
Well, you probably wouldn't have been able to pay the A&E fee.
UK, it would have been free.
Is it free?
Yeah, free healthcare. NHS. Especially if you're a child, like yeah, but like oh yeah, it is pretty bad. I imagine you got seen to pretty quickly as well. You know,
I wouldn't say so.
You know they usually put on priority.
If you prioritize things by like compound fracture, bleeding, ambulance arrival.
Oh yeah, but that was bleeding.
Yeah, but like it probably wasn't bleeding like enough to be life threatening. It
could have been. You used to be able to be Dick Jones. I imagine that bleed quite a lot.
I don't know. I can't imagine. Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't a pleasant sight, I imagine.
Imagine being the doctor that had to deal with that.
Yeah.
What did you do today in work? Some kids took a USB cable up his dick and I had to remove it.
Well, do you know that part where you go to accident emergency room where you get a consultation with a doctor and sometimes there's nurses there as well. They're just kind of and they kind of check out to see if it is life threatening or not. So usually like four maybe 3 or 4 of them in a room, and so you have to be like, oh, it's my penis. So then obviously like they're like, okay, we're gonna need some extra. By the end of it, there must have been a team around them because like they would have brought in a surgeon and they're like, all right, we're going to need to get an X-ray of this thing, and then the surgeon might have to go get his chief surgeon. And then like by the sense of it, was like a complicated thing to actually do. So like they'd have to get like probably an expert over. So they would have had a good few people just all looking at his penis at the X-ray like of the USB. There could have been like at this stage 20 like doctors and surgeons would have had to seen this.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they're like, I just need to go and ask my colleague, and they walk into the next room, they're like, where do you see what this dumbass kid
Yeah,
did?
there's a guy who wants me came up their ass, and I was like, I'm bringing in Doctor whatever, and he's like, oh my god, but obviously they can't have the mask on. They're like, Jesus Christ.
There's
like,
a 35 over in room 2.
Yeah. So he's like, do you know what? Do you know who else I'll call in because he's good with this side of thing? And he's like, Bob.
Yeah, Bob. Hey, wait, isn't Bob the receptionist?
Bob, there's a guy. It's like, and basically all the surgeon lads are just kind of like,
Yeah, Bob isn't even medically trained.
Yeah, Bob's the janitor. To bring in everybody, just have a look, and the female doctor's like, oh, you poor thing. The lad's like, bah, you fucking idiot.
You fucking idiot.
Yeah, so that was our idiots of the week, and that is our show for this week. We've had awkwardness, code, and penises. Yeah, so like I guess. What else do you expect? The Shite Talk podcast show is back. We're talking about penises once again, and idiots of the week.
Normal, so normal coverage has resumed.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's been a while since we had idiots of the week and penis. Now we got both of them.
Yeah.
I also forgot to talk about the second coming of Jesus Christ. My God.
Okay.
So I might as well do this real quickly. So the second. I haven't actually read the story, but I've heard it off someone, so I'm giving what I've heard, basically. Great reporting, I know. But basically, I think it was over in Italy. They had these 2 female sharks locked up in this container, and they left them for a few years, and there was a baby shark. So they're calling it, obviously, because there's no male sharks there, they're calling it the second coming of Jesus Christ is a shark. So Jesus has returned
as a shark.
The magnificent or something conception. There's an M word there.
Miraculous.
Miraculous maybe. Conception has happened again, and Jesus has come back in the shark form.
Well, our sharks are kind of like snakes, I think, though, aren't they? Like they can store up sperm for like years.
Oh, can they?
Yeah.
All right. So maybe that's what
pregnant. Yeah, she's probably pregnant before she went into the enclosure. She just didn't. They store it up, and then if there's no shortage of whatever, if it's a snakes around them, if it's a sharks around them, they'll just keep storing it.
All right, that makes sense then.
And then when they get to an area where there's like not many snakes or sharks or whatever around, then they'll have their baby.
See, that is evolution right there.
It's also because the male will like mate and then kill the female.
Oh right.
So they kind of like mate and then she fucks off.
Yeah, she's like runs for safety.
Like a fucking safe distance away. She's like, okay, baby time.
Baby time. Like it has like that really intelligent kind of like thing built into it, that little store for years. But then it also has in the male side, it was like, I'm just going to eat this shark.
Yeah.
It's like evolution works like two like opposite ways of each other.
Yeah, it's like fucking cats with their like, multiple, like kittens in a litter can have multiple fathers.
Yeah.
But each father is going to be like, I'm going to kill all these kittens to make the mother go back into heat so that I can fuck her again and make her have my kittens.
Yeah, because it seems like in terms of evolution, a step back of evolution is to have it like this.
It's like the female of the species has evolved and the male is gone backwards.
Yeah, very very much. I know some like leopards I've seen on a nature program that they can recognize their kids. And they won't attack it if it's their kids. They know by the scent of it, and they sniff it, and so they won't attack it. They'll allow it to eat, and then but if it isn't like part of their pack, essentially they'll just like kill it.
I don't know. That's the problem with like if you remove a kitten or a puppy from its mother and then bring it back to visit.
Yeah.
The problem is that it doesn't smell like the pack or the litter anymore, so the mother rejects it and attacks it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like if humans touch a kitten before the mother is ready to kind of allow people to touch it.
Yeah.
She gets the scent of your litter, which would be like humans, off it, and she rejects it because it's not her kitten.
Oh, that's interesting. Some little facts. Like our show went down like a disgusting path, and now to finish it on, I think it's like we'll finish it on like that nice kind of educational part, because we'll sooner or later end up talking about cats' penises again, and we don't want to go back down there again. So leave it there for this week's show. We'll be back with episode 211. Talk to you then.
Hopefully.
Talk to you then.
Shut up and sit down.